The steel groans. Not like a door hinge, not like a floorboard. A 9,000-ton destroyer groans from somewhere deep in its putt when a 40-foot wall of black water slams into it at 3 in the morning. The smell hits you first. Diesel fuel baked into the metal for years. Salt so thick you taste it. And underneath it all, the particular smell of 280 men who haven't seen the sun in 4 days, living inside a steel hull that won't stop moving. The deck tilts, 30 degrees, 35. A coffee mug shatters against the bulkhead. A sailor grabs a pipe and holds on. And the ship holds. Here is what the world never tells you. The United States Navy does not stop for storms. American destroyer crews sail into weather that has killed fleets, broken ships in half, and swallowed men whole. And they do it as a matter of routine. 800,000 Americans have served aboard Navy destroyers. Every single one has a storm story. Most will never tell it. Stay with me, because there is one thing these crews do in the middle of a massive storm that most people have never heard of. When you hear it, you will never look at a warship the same way again. Before we go further, I want to speak directly to anyone watching who has served or who has a family member who has stood a watch on a Navy vessel. You already know something most Americans don't. You know the ocean is not scenery. It is an adversary, one that does not recognize rank and does not care about the cost of the ship it is trying to destroy. If you've served or someone you love has, drop their ship name in the comments right now. Let's honor them here. To understand how a crew handles a massive storm, you first have to understand the ship itself. The Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, the backbone of today's surface fleet, displaces 9,000 tons of steel. It runs on 4 gas turbine engines, producing more horsepower than 100 Formula One cars. It carries enough missiles to dominate a battlefield. It is one of the most powerful machines ever put on water. In a bad storm, it rides like a cork. That is not a weakness. That is physics. A destroyer is a narrow, fast hull built to move quickly and change direction, not to absorb wave energy. When a 40-foot swell rolls through, the ship goes with it, up one side, down the other, rolling 30, sometimes 40 degrees before righting itself. 40 degrees of roll. A normal floor tilts 5 degrees before you lose your footing. At 40 degrees, you are not walking, you are climbing. So what does a crew of 280 men do when the ship starts behaving like that? The answer begins not when the storm hits, but 72 hours before it. When a major storm is tracking toward the ship's operating area, the captain and navigator begin running scenarios. Go around it, slow down and let it pass, or drive through it because the mission demands it. When the call is made to go through it, the crew goes to work immediately. First comes with sailor's call, securing for sea. Every loose object on the ship, every tool, every piece of equipment gets lashed down or stowed. In a bad roll, a free-floating wrench becomes a projectile. An unsecured crate becomes a battering ram. The checklist covers every compartment. It takes hours. Then the food changes. The galley becomes genuinely dangerous in heavy weather. Boiling water, hot oil, and a deck that won't stop moving means burns the ship's medical team can't afford to handle. So the crew shifts to cold sandwiches and crackers. Veterans will tell you after 3 days you stop tasting them. You eat because your body needs fuel, not because anyone is enjoying it. Then comes ballasting, and this is where the Navy learned its most painful lesson. December 18, 1944, Admiral Halsey's Third Fleet sailed into Typhoon Cobra. 3 destroyers sank, 790 sailors died. When the Navy investigated, they found something that changed doctrine forever. The destroyers that capsized were running on nearly empty fuel tanks, 10 to 15% capacity. The fuel in a destroyer's tanks isn't just propulsion, it's weight, it's stability. When those tanks ran dry, those ships lost the one thing keeping them upright. From that day forward, Navy doctrine became non-negotiable. Before heavy weather, you top off the tanks, no exceptions. 790 men bought that rule with their lives. Now, once that ship is fueled, secured, and the storm is on top of them, what does the captain actually do? Where do you point 9,000 tons of steel when the ocean is trying to kill you?
Here's the fact nobody tells you. Not the recruiting commercials, not the documentaries. When a destroyer is caught in a massive storm, the captain does not try to outrun it. He turns the bow directly into the worst of it and drives straight ahead. Bow into the sea, head on, full commitment. It is called steaming into the weather, and it is the most counterintuitive survival decision in all of naval seamanship. Every instinct says turn away, but if a 40-foot wave hits the ship from the side, beam to in sailor's language, it can roll the ship past the point of no return. Bow on, the ship rides up the face of that wave, crests it, and comes back down. The bow dips underwater, sailors call it taking green water, the ship shakes itself off and keeps going. That image, a destroyer buried nose first in a black Atlantic wave, spray exploding into the air, the whole ship shuddering, and then rising again. That is not a ship in trouble. That is a ship doing exactly what it was built to do. Quick question for you. What's the one meal you could never go without if you were at sea for months? Drop it in the comments. Now let's talk about the human beings inside that hull. A destroyer crew operates in watch rotations, 4 hours on, 8 hours off. In a storm, this never stops. Someone is always on the bridge. Someone is always in the engine room. The ocean does not take breaks, and neither does the crew. That 8 hours off is not rest in any way a civilian would recognize. You are in your rack, a narrow bunk with a canvas strap you pull across yourself so the roll doesn't throw you out. You are trying to sleep with the hull groaning around you, water hammering the steel 6 inches from your head, the ship tilting one way and then the other for the entire 4 hours until someone shakes your shoulder for your next watch. The officer of the deck during a storm carries particular weight, often 24 or 25 years old. They have a captain they can call, they have procedures to follow, but in the middle of the night, in the middle of the North Atlantic, with a wall of weather on the radar, the decision they make in the next few seconds matters enormously. They stand on a deck physically moving beneath their feet, reading instruments swinging with every roll, maintaining the calm the crew around them needs to see. Because on a ship in a storm, panic spreads faster than fire. Do you think you could handle that? 4 hours of sleep in a rolling steel hull, then back on watch for days on end? Let us know in the comments. The training for these moments is relentless. Destroyer crews run damage control drills constantly. They practice sealing watertight compartments, flooding scenarios, fire scenarios, electrical failures, all of it repeated until the muscle memory is so deep a sailor can do it in the dark, half asleep, without thinking. Because in a real emergency, you don't have time to think. You have to already know. Veterans describe a specific moment, and if you've served, you may know this exactly, where the fear stops. Not because the danger is gone, but because your hands know what to do before your brain catches up. You seal the hatch, you call the bridge, you grab the pipe and hold on. And somewhere in that trained response, the storm becomes something you are managing rather than something happening to you. That shift from feeling like a victim of the storm to being the operator inside it, that is what naval training is actually building. The storm is the test. The years of drilling are the answer. When seas get bad enough that bow into the weather isn't enough, when the storm is simply too massive, the captain has one final option. He slows to what's called bare steerage way, the absolute minimum speed to keep the bow pointed into the weather, not fighting the storm, not running, simply existing inside it, controlled and steady until it passes. This can last hours, sometimes days. The watches continue, the heading holds, and eventually the ocean calms. What it costs beyond the physical exhaustion is harder to measure. Veterans call it the heavy weather fog. You come out the other side feeling 10 years older, the kind of tiredness that comes from lost sleep alone, but from sustained alertness, from being ready every moment for something to go wrong. And yet, they go back out, every deployment, every patrol, because the mission doesn't stop because the weather is bad. The price of freedom has always been paid by people willing to go where freedom is fragile. For the surface fleet, sometimes that place is in the middle of a storm, holding a pipe with both hands, trusting the ship, the training, and each other. If this video has given you something, if it helped you understand what service actually looks like from the inside, please hit like and subscribe. It is the most direct way to help us keep telling these stories, and we have many more to tell. There is a tradition in the United States Navy. When a ship completes a difficult passage, a winter crossing of the North Atlantic, a transit through typhoon season, the crew does not celebrate with speeches. They keep their watch. They go back to their stations, pick up where they left off, and do their job. Because that is what the job is. Not the ceremony, not the ribbon. The job is showing up. Every watch, every storm, every time the ocean tests them. 790 men died in Typhoon Cobra in 1944, so the Navy could learn how to keep sailors alive in every storm that followed. Their sacrifice is not a footnote, it is the foundation. Every sailor who has ever topped off their tanks before a storm, every officer of the deck who has ever turned bow into the weather and held that heading through the dark, they are standing on those 790 shoulders. That is what legacy looks like. Not a monument, a procedure, a decision made at 3 in the morning in the middle of the ocean, a ship that comes home. So, the next time you see a gray hull cutting through the water, know what you are looking at. A machine built for war, crewed by people trained to master the ocean itself. And the ocean has never won. Last question before you go. Which part of this surprised you most? The fuel ballasting, the bow into the wave doctrine, or the fact that these crews keep standing their watches through all of it? Tell us in the comments. To every sailor who has ever stood a storm watch on a Navy destroyer, this one was for you.